All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Roofer Masterclass. I'm your host, Pete McKendrick, with co host Nick. And on our new platform here, testing it out for the first time. Welcome, everybody, to another Roofer Masterclass. So excited to get through this one today. We've been asked a lot, why would we choose Roofer, right? Why would we go with Roofer? And so we thought, what's the best way to do it than to jump on here and work our way through it today and give you guys a little look. If you're considering Roofer here in the off season or in the slow season, right? Here's an opportunity for you to take a look and for us to run through it with you.
For all my years in sales, this is my jam. Why switch to Roofer? I got a lot of reasons in there.
I mean, we've been getting this question even at events. Hey, I've looked at you guys a little bit. I've looked at the competition. Why would I choose you guys? Why are you guys different than X platform?
I think that's what we want to go over today is like, depending on your needs, depending on your company's goals, depending on where you guys are right now, we probably are the best one for you. But ultimately, it's important to book a sales call with Roofer and go over your wants and needs. When you're going through a sales call with Roofer, it's like, yes, this is a sales call. I don't like to run it like this. I want to find out what you are doing now and what you're looking to do and see if we're a right fit for you. If not, then we'll point you in the right direction. The good news here at Roofer is, hey, we're friends with a lot of our competitors and we know a lot about them as well. So we might point you down the road to like, hey, you should be with this CRM or this tool or whatever the case may be, because it's better suited for what you need now. But even the better news is that most of the time we are the right role for you. Having everything under one hood, being able to streamline that for yourself and your team allows you to get onboarded quicker, get rocking quicker, and get sales quicker. And that's ultimately what we're looking for.
Like Nick said, a lot of it is about what works best for you, what you're looking for, what your needs are as a company, and what best fits. Size of your company, how niche you are and what you do, what other trades are you handling. All these things come into play. So there's a lot of questions you want to ask when you're looking at it, and we can talk through some of those today as we demo Roofer here and talk about, what are the questions maybe that you should be asking, when you do get on these sales calls, right?
Mm-hmm.
What should you be saying as a roofer and what should you be asking about, But we'll dive into it. We got some housekeeping slides here really fast, and then we can get deeper in the weeds on that.
100%. If you have any questions or need anything, you just reach out to me and Pete at roofer.com and Nic at roofer.com. We always post these on our website and on our YouTube channel. So it will always be there for you after. Feel free to ask any questions in the chat. And I guess we can start off with our first poll question. Do you currently use a CRM? So Joel's going to throw that out there with our new fancy machine. This is super cool. I feel like I'm on CNN or Fox, just getting that in. See how I cover both sides there, Pete?
I saw that.
A man of the people.
Ooh,
it's live too? Pete, you brought up something just before. And when you're talking about questions that you should ask. So a good way to tell if you're in a good demo or not, where that person's looking out for you, is the questions that they're asking you and how pertinent they are to what you are currently doing and what you want to do in the future. And like the days of the past of like the Rodney Webb style selling where like you're sitting down, you're not getting off this Zoom until we sign on the dotted line. Like that's not happening anymore. And if you're in that situation, get the F out. Because like you can't be pressured into a CRM vibe. It's one of the most important things that your guys gonna have to run with. It's going to run your business and is going to be responsible for your success or failure in that business. What you're looking for from that seller is someone to be asking you questions on you, your situation, what you're using right now, all the tools that you're using and in what way, understanding a little bit about your goals, and most importantly, your priorities. And for you, what you should be asking is a couple good questions. I think that you should always ask on like user pricing and how it kind of grows and scales with you or not. I would think very long and hard about your data. Where does your data go? We talk to users every single day, switching CRMs from one of the big legacy CRMs over to us. And the biggest hiccup that they have is that their data is not all theirs. They can easily pull out their contacts and jobs, but all those photos, documents, files, and stuff like that are locked in there. You want to know where your data is and how easy it is to access it afterwards. And then a third thing is onboarding, implementation, and training. Those three should go together. And what's the cost of it? What is it like? And how do you help me? Those three things are big. If they're just going to say, we only send you videos, it's easy, or it's going to cost you $2 to $3 grand, or whatever the case is, bit of a red flag. We're in 2026 now. Things have changed. And ultimately, you want to make sure that you're with something that's going to teach you how to use it. The worst thing in the world is you having to pay for something and then you having to pay to learn how to use it or even get it set up. So those things are the questions I'd be asking. And then, how it ties into my goals and my functions and my wants and dreams and everything else there. And I think the last thing I'll do is advice corner. That's fantastic. There's nice to haves and there's need to haves. Need to haves, do not compromise on it. But the nice to haves, see where they are in the roadmap. Roadmaps can change for every company.
And I think the biggest thing too for me, back in my day,
yeah,
back when I used to sell CRMs, some of the most impactful demos that I used to do were completely around pain points, right? Tell me what is your pain points with either your current CRM or your current process. And then let's talk about how we can potentially solve them with my software, right? And sometimes it didn't even take a full demo to really make an impact when we focused on those things. Go into these conversations thinking, does this CRM work for me right now, but will it still work for me with our 3-year plan, with our 5-year plan, right? When you go into it and all you're thinking about is what can we do to fix this problem that we have today, you run into a situation where like maybe that CRM that you pick doesn't work from you a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, right? And so I've seen that time and time again where it's like, oh, we outgrew our CRM, right? Like luckily enough for us at Roofr, we're constantly evolving. The product's constantly changing, putting us in a really good position to be able to grow with you as a company. We get people all the time. They're like, oh, I tried that CRM and I tried this CRM. And, you guys are my 5th CRM and all this stuff. That's why, right? You're literally buying the CRM that looks the coolest or fixes the problem right now, not the one that's going to grow with you and be there 3 or 5 years from now, right? So just that's the biggest one, not to steal Nick's advice corner there, but, old timer was.
I feel like Sage was an attack. It was
well worded.
On that note, too, give it some time. People that are very experienced and very used to a certain CRM that they've been working with a long time, when they switch, they're very quick to say, this doesn't work. And a lot of it's recency bias. You're so used to how it was working and how it was done, and you've gotten so good at the clicks and knowing where to go in the old CRM that the new one, even though it can do more or can do things differently, it seems overwhelming. So you just need to give it some time, do the homework, get into the courses and stuff like that. Luckily, Roofr has a lot of courses they can go through that are hyper specific, like these master classes, but on their education sessions at roofr.com/implementation. Hold those every day.
We pride ourselves here at Roofr. We have a build team, we have an implementation team, and those guys are specifically set up to try to mimic what you're doing. I mean, I've heard so many times, I literally have had contractors say, I don't trust my sales team to adopt this, right? And so, and I think a lot of it is just, like I was saying, the build team and the implementation team definitely leverage those guys and say like, hey, look, this is our process. We want it to as closely resemble this as possible so that there isn't that friction of like, oh, we have to relearn a whole new software or we have to learn a whole new process of doing things just because we're using a CRM. I used to always tell people, give it a couple weeks. Let's get this thing dialed in. Let's get your template set up, your catalog hooked up, like get it to where it mimics your process as much as possible. Then let's add the players, right? And train them on it once it's all fully built.
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen here. Like demo time. As Pete's saying, like get it set up. Why switch to Roofr? One of the big things is the implementation doesn't cost anything and we help build everything based on it. So if you were to sign up with Roofr, jump on one of the plans, we would send you out a form right off the bat. You fill out that form, the more detailed, the better. And once you hit submit, our team starts building your system internally. The stages that you want, the workflows that you want, the proposals, the catalogs, and all that stuff in there. And then we go over it and train you and your team on how to use it. So a big part about that is really trying to mimic, starting from the beginning, your job board to match your sales process. You want to make sure that everything kind of goes across the front to the end, from new lead acquisition all the way into closed loss right off the bat. And what's nice about Roofr is that you can customize these into what you're looking for. I think you said in the past, Pete, like the sweet spot's like 8 to 10. Was it?
Somewhere in there, 8 to 10 probably is going to cover 90% of your situations, depending on what type of business you're doing. I think I've seen them as small as 5, and I've seen them as large as 50. So
yeah,
I think 5, can be too simplistic. I would say 8's a pretty good sweet spot to land.
And that way you can, like, you're not too granular, you're not micromanaging your team, but also you're not too broad. And like you said, things can fall through the cracks there. This is your digital whiteboard. For anybody who has or had that whiteboard in their office with sticky notes across the board there, that's what we have here. And as you can see, you can drag those sticky notes across and drop them in new spots. I prefer automations, and the system is really well situated for automations and everything. But being able to have it all built in here, nice and clean, is going to allow you to be more streamlined with that all as well. So once you have these are your milestones. Each stage is your next step, your big milestone of that lead. So it goes from new lead to appointment scheduled to proposal sent, so on and so forth. And inside there, you can see the tasks that are listed there. These tasks are your contributing actions that makes you move those milestones. Once these are all completed, we can then move that across to the next field. And that's the way to kind of start off to make sure that your team doesn't have a heart attack when looking at a new tool. It's the process that they're used to inside your company. It's like, hey, I take a new lead, I bring it here, I bring it there. You have contributing actions to make sure that they're doing while they're filling it out. And you can make sure that there's stage blocking tasks, assign it directly to the people, or D-date with those tasks associated as well. So my first step would be getting the implementation done and following exactly what Pete said, making sure that this is going to be as easy to go through as possible that matches your current system, so you don't hit them with a bunch of change at once. People don't like change. We mentioned that before. So how do we make this more streamlined so that they're comfortable with what they're doing?
Yeah, and I love the tasks, like a checklist, a sub workflow, whatever you want to call them, right? If you have a group of items that you want to get done inside of a specific workflow, like, hey, we got a new lead in, before we schedule an appointment, here's all the things we'd like to do, or add an appointment, here's all the things we'd like to do, right? And you can mimic that, right? Like if you've got, if your guys have a process out in the field, you want to mimic that in here. The checklist is a fantastic way to capture that and, and allow the team, and you can automate them. Like Nic was saying, we've got a ton of automations. You can automate those checklists, those task lists to populate at certain stages and have, you can assign people to things, set due dates, make some that block it from moving, unless they're completed. So you have a lot of power here with the task lists and the checklist items here. They allow you to be more granular without clogging up that job board with a ton of workflow items. You can really capture a lot in these task lists here.
Automations is your key because you can have them set up per stage. So it automatically lays that out. And you can see who's been completing these tasks, how it's been updated, everything else that's been going along throughout this process. So you can see the date, time, and who it was completed by. So it's a great way for learning and coaching as well, from like an ownership or management perspective. You can see who is completing the task and not actually doing them, or who is not completing the task but still doing them. That's great education and great coaching ability that you can kind of break down with the information that you can see across that entire board there. So that's a huge bonus that I highly recommend doing once you get started up, and then you're able to rock and roll from there.
Yeah, especially if you have new employees coming in. Some of you guys probably are hiring people as you ramp up into the season, right? If you have these checklists, these task lists built, and they automate and they just populate in there, it's an easy way to train new people to say, like, hey, you just go to these task lists. They're going to tell you exactly what needs to be done at this stage in the workflow, right? So it's going to make them, the training part, easier. It's going to make them come up to speed faster. It's just going to simplify the whole process for a new person altogether.
Another thing that why switching to Roofr kind of is a little bit easier for some people is, obviously we know that everything's in one spot, right? That's a nice added bonus, is where we have everything kind of in one spot, from sites now to the instant estimator for lead capture, measurements, proposals, PDF signer, think DocuSign but bigger, built directly in here. Material orders linked with your major suppliers, work orders with crew management now, invoices, payments, and everything else. That is a bonus in itself. You're not paying for multiple subscriptions and creating a Frankenstein within your current CRM. But the other thing that's really beneficial is the way that it's laid out in the job board. Obviously, the UI or user interface is really nice and clean, so it's easy on the eyes. But also, everything inside that job card is there that you need to run that job, and it's sequential, right? So you get in there, you have the information about the job, then you have the tasks that you need to do, then you have the calendar appointments, the measurements. Right after the measurements, you typically need to build a proposal. Maybe you have to sign a contract to get that going as well. Then I had to order materials, book my crew in, get paid with invoices, and then I could see anything with attachments and all that stuff as well. So having everything in a nice sequential format is going to allow you to be a lot more streamlined, allow your team to understand what's going on, and for you to check in on them. If you have to do that, you can see it very quickly by just moving across that board as well.
I love how we kind of built this out in like chronological order, right? It flows with the way you would flow through a job.
You want to be able to clean that up and be able to be simplified throughout that process as well. A CRM for you to be effective needs to work with your speed as well. That speed to lead aspect. We need to be quicker on it because people are expecting speed. You have Amazon, you have everything else right now that is just so quick and so demanding. And if you're not the first person out, you're probably going to lose that job. Pete's always, you've used that example of the plumber that you were calling, where you just called a bunch and the first guy that ended up coming through the door was the one that you ended up hiring.
Yeah. Everybody has the opportunity now to be quick, right? To get their measurements quick, to get their proposals done fast, right? So you're in a market now where speed is of the essence. You don't have the time to book an appointment next week and show up and talk to the customer. We're moving at a much faster pace now than we ever have before, right? And so many of these customers want it that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
The new customer wants it done quickly. They kind of have done their homework. They're not looking for a big lengthy process and a lot of back and forth. They want something very straightforward, quick, detailed, that they can make a decision on it and make a call, get a signature, and go on with their day, and get the production done.
Yeah, and it's a big deal too. Being able to make sure that you have everything set up for that customer is one thing, but then being able to be educational with them, to be transparent with everything. Being able to break that all down so you can show them everything that needs to be done with the descriptions, the line items, the section headings, everything else, the upgrades, and letting them know what the options are there, along with the presentation of those photos, those catalog items, those colors, the warranties, and everything else. All that stuff is super important so that you can get those signatures quick. If you're an owner looking in at this now and trying to understand, how can I make sure that my team is more successful this year? Making sure that you have an automated follow-up so that everything can go through it very quickly, that they are able to follow up with the customers, but still able to get new leads. And the only way to effectively do that is going through automations. Being able to automate those email and text in here is going to allow you guys to look like you're on top of your game, even when you're not, even when you're on vacation, and making sure that you're giving those touch points that you need, because ultimately it's going to take like 8 touches per job for you to get that winning contract at the end of the day. So we want to be able to help throughout that process and get everything moving as quick as possible.
Roofr was really kind of instrumental in changing the idea of a proposal in the roofing space, right? To being this more presentation style, educational piece, right? Before it was like, hey, we're just going to throw a group of line items together, maybe a quick explanation, a little scope of work, and get a signature on it. Kind of taking it to the next level here by allowing you to really build out a full-blown presentation in that proposal. If I'm not sitting at the kitchen table, I can still send that to a contractor and they can essentially use it to educate themselves on products, to educate themselves on my company, to make decisions as far as things like color and warranties and all this stuff. It's all built in there now. We can set it up to house all that information in the proposal. So that becomes a very, very powerful tool now.
And even on the work order side of things, like you can create this. I've been going down that sequential list inside that job card as quick as I can during this process. But being able to send work orders out via text or email to my crew was all the information needed, and get everything to them fast, as well as you can see, email and text going out to the customer, moving stages automatically. I've gone from, new lead to appointment scheduled to proposal sent, proposal 1, production, and pre-production, all in one spot. Is going to be huge. So that's when you're looking at how can we make sure that everything is dialed in the way that we need it to be.
Yeah, it reduces the number because we're going from our measurement straight to our proposal, and the proposal allows us to produce our material order, our work order, our invoice. We've reduced the amount of manual entries. and therefore reduce the opportunities for mistakes. I did a presentation at RCAT last fall, had a contractor stand up and he said, hey, we used to not use work orders in our CRM. We used to just text our crews. And we texted one day and my guy put one wrong number in the text and they ended up roofing the wrong house. So we want to reduce the opportunities for mistakes by taking the manual piece away. Being able to quickly take that proposal, turn it into a work order, turn it into a material order with just a click of a button and not having to go in and manually enter stuff. We drastically reduce the opportunity for errors when it comes to the important stuff. Like Nic said earlier, this becomes kind of our source of truth. Everything lives in here. Everyone has visibility of it. We're able to communicate it very easily.
And you can see, like, why switch to Roofr? Well, the streamlined nature of that. Being able to communicate with your team and your customers very well, and being able to open up everything else, PDF, signer, material orders, work orders, all in one spot. You can mark things that have been completed, that are in progress, whatever the case may be. And you can make sure that everything is set up for success for you and your team. And that's important because when you're going down the road and you're looking back or you have a warranty claim, God forbid, or anything else, you want to be able to go into the CRM and be like, look like you signed that quote on this date, that you completed the shingle color option here on this date at this time. I have your signature on there. Yeah, the material orders were here. The work order was assigned to your crew for February 25th install, and so on and so forth. So when you are looking at a new CRM, make sure it can do all this. Make sure it's easy to track and understand what's where and when, because ultimately that is the biggest part about your company. The data that you know is the most important because that's going to be able to drive it. The hardest thing that you're going to run into is making sure that these people are putting the information into CRM every single time. How do you make it easier? Get a system for them that works for them. Once a couple of those automation reminders come back where people are signing those contracts a little bit easier and it's easier for them to find stuff, better believe they're going to continue to add that stuff in. So find something that works with your team as much as it works with you, because that data is going to be everything for you down the line.
Yeah. And now with our enhanced mobile experience, when your team is out in the field, they can put all this stuff in there and access all this information from the field. Now I don't even have to wait to put this stuff in there till I can, get access to it. It's so simple. Our mobile version is really user friendly. It's really easy to go in there, drop comments, notes, send messages, add tasks, all this stuff, right, that we need to do. Even just reference information, like Nic said, maybe a customer calls and says, hey, you did my roof 2 months ago, and I think I might have an issue. Like being able to quickly access that while you're on the phone in the field is just such a huge advantage. And being able to talk educatedly about their account, from wherever you're at, it's a massive advantage to have all that stuff at your fingertips all the time.
Yeah, you're on the road and you're like, what's your name again? Oh, it's Tom Brady. That's the name sounds familiar, but I just click into this. You're like, okay, cool. Yeah, I have all these jobs for you. I noticed that you have a proposal out there right now. We have a measurement. It's around 32 squares that we're working on here, 33 squares if you had some waste in there. But yeah, I'm happy to help you out. By the way, Tom, I know that we were able to install that CertainTeed Landmark Premium for you. Would you like to send a review? Can you send a review? Sounds good. I'm going to send you a quick email out right now. And if you could fill out a review thing, it'd be great. So that kind of stuff is going to make you very, very happy as well and make your customers even happier at the end of the road. Thank you for your business, Tom Brady. Here's the reviews, automation right off the bat.
Good old Tom.
Tom Brady is a big fan of Roofr.
Yeah, always getting roofs done.
I know Jerry had a question there.
What kind of training and customer service will you provide to an ignorant old codger who is basically a one-man show?
Our specialty. So on the screen here, this is going to be your entryway there, Jerry, to help you out. If you're fighting technology, don't worry, so am I. I make it look pretty on the screen, but I'm a roofer by trade, been banging on shingles since I was 12 years old. So the implementation is free. We're here for you. And depending on how you'd like to learn, right? If you like to learn in person, we have implementation specialists. Here's a couple of them right here. And then we also have our customized support, education sessions, and other resources. On the education sessions, as I was talking about earlier, we have detailed classes every day. One every single day that you can see here where you can join and watch and ask questions live like you're doing now with one of our implementation specialists. Pro tip for everyone here, just register. And if you don't show up, you get the recording after. So it's going to help you out. It's going to be sent to your email. The other thing is if you do like doing things on your own and you like kind of learning on your own as well, we have a quick launch guide. We have a Roofr Academy. We have the Roofr Masterclass. And then again, the implementation. So we're here for you. It's not a difficult system to use. My dad uses it. He's a 61-year-old roofer, does very well with it. But yes, there's going to be a learning curve. I'm not going to sugarcoat that, but it's not going to be too hard. We got support for you, Jerry.
I mean, the team is fantastic. They do a great job from the setup all the way through to the support, even after the fact, after you're up and running. If you have questions or you run into something that you're struggling with, the team is always just a phone call away, or a text message away, or whatever the case may be.
If you have any other questions, let us know. Highly recommend booking, like Joel put it on the bottom of the screen, book a sales calls. Talk to the team, jump in, ask questions, see if this is the right fit for you. Ultimately, if it's not a right fit, they're going to be able to point you in the right direction as well.
Yeah. Jason's question around email platforms. Jason, we do have a Gmail connection as well as a Google Calendar connection.
Like a homeowner portal?
I'm assuming that's what he's referring to. Currently, at this point, no, we don't have any direct portal that they can access. Obviously, we have all of our communication set up. And like Nic said earlier, you can automate all of that. No customer portal as of yet.
But Jason, most of our tools are kind of like a customer-facing portal. It's just not all together as one yet. So like if you're sending out a proposal, it's a live proposal. It's not a PDF. So it moves with you. The selections move with you. If you select multiple options, the math will add up right away. Same with the invoice, same with everything else. So it makes a big, big difference.
Yeah. Jerry said payments, ? Yes, we do have payments.
That's rates in the industry as well. So it's 2.8% on credit card, 0.5% on ACH.
Jason's got a question here. Any book appointment now links that tie into the calendar? So in our instant estimator, Jason, you do have the ability to add a link. Or what a lot of guys will do is they'll add like a Calendly link or something like that, or their Google Calendar link there that the customer can click. They can book an appointment. That Google Calendar can be linked to your roofer calendar so that it will flow straight in and you'll have that visibility there. So a lot of guys are doing that. When you link to Gmail, does it send all software emails through Gmail's servers? They still come from ours, I believe, right? So the emails will come from us. Even if you have your Gmail connected, they'll come out of Roofr.
But yeah, they're all synced with Gmail, so it's all be able to respond, view, and all that stuff as well.
Yeah. Jerry says customer payments. Yes, customer payments by credit card. You can handle all that through the platform. So you can send a link to your customer. The customer can click on that. They can handle their payment right through that rather than having to run around and chase checks. And we appreciate you guys jumping on today and learning a little bit more about Roofr. Hopefully we answered some of the questions. And like we said, always here to answer any other questions that you may have. And we appreciate you guys all jumping on. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time on the Roofr Masterclass.